Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Morning Market Report. Had the microphone muted there. Hey, it's Monday. It's Monday. Let's go with it. Guys, we've got a lot of green on the charts here today, popping off on the crypto bubbles. Bitcoin tried to break through that 200-day simple moving average. We've talked about this over and over and over again. I'm sorry if it feels like we're on repeat, but that's what we're seeing is repeat of the same attempt over and over without success. And then we got some divergences starting to print now, bearish divergences that, according to Alex O this morning, not playing out yet, but we're going to see if that's going to happen. We're going to be looking at that and the market open right now. It looks like the Dow is down a little bit right now at the market open, about flat, really. And everything else just kind of meh. That's what we're going to call it today, meh. Guys, we're going to go over that. We're going to look at all these charts, figure out where Bitcoin's going this week. And we're going to be heading into Friday with PCE, the number one data piece that they look at the Federal Reserve. So see how that's going to be looking as we move into the week, guys. All that and a whole lot more today on the Morning Market Report. Let's get it, classes in session. Good morning, everybody, and thank you for joining us right here on the Morning Market Report, Piper Academy's morning show at the market open. Guys, if you guys are new here, don't forget, smash that like, do that thing, and good things will happen. I promise. The show will grow. We'll get more people in here to have a lot more activity, and I don't know, perhaps Bitcoin will break the 200-day simple moving average. But guys, without any further ado, because I can't do this show by myself, my voice would give out and say I'm done long before the end. I got my roadies here. It's the Trade Fly. It's the OC guy. What's up, fellas? How you guys doing today?
What is up, guys? Hope everyone had a great weekend. I definitely went out, touched some grass, spent some time with the family, went to the beach, ran a 5K. So we were very active this weekend. And it was good, man. It was really, really good. And did a little, even last night, did a little bit of audio troubleshooting. So hopefully we're going to be smooth sailing here for the crypto nightcap this evening. But with that being said, I'm going to go ahead over to the chat, say what's up. You know that's my thing. Kyle Fields in here. Yo, what's up? Hart. He said, good morning. Crux of Crypto. He said, yo, Max H. He said, morning, fam. Morning, my guy. Hope all is well. Ninja Glock. How you doing? Good morning to you. Username. He said, it's just that simple. Caffeinated Crypto with a GM coffee. And you know he's throwing up the shaka. Let's go. Lloyd, Roger, Spencer. Alumni Unite. What's up, my dude? Retro Mike Tyson here. Hey, go check him out. He just dropped some videos. And I saw a post. I saw a post that he made this weekend, and it was intriguing. He said just like that. I think he said cell phones and tablets flipped mining rigs. So I'm interested to hear more about that, man. Definitely make a video on that. All right, Moho's in here. Said good morning, everyone.
Need more info.
Yeah, I want more. I want more. Tell me more. All right, Buck, what's up, my dude? Hope all is well. Hope you had a great weekend, and that is it. Let's get it going.
Awesome. OC, how you doing this morning, man? You had a good weekend, I hope. Everything's good. I see you weren't kidnapped by cartels or anything yet. So.
Not yet. Getting prepared. To be honest, today, I mean, the whole weekend I was gaming. I was playing VR Onwards. If you don't know, that's a kind of like let's say realistic shooting game. Man, everything hurts at this pace. I'm gonna develop 6-packs in my trigger finger, but it was pretty fun.
Oh, good Lord. All right, well, that's awesome, man. Let's jump into the news. Let's get this unwrapped, unpackaged here so everybody can understand what we got looking ahead in the week. And then let's get into this Bitcoin chart right after that. So without any further ado, folks, it's the news brought to you by Decrypted.tax. It's the only crypto tax news that you need to know about. If it's the ones sponsored by Decrypted.tax. So let's jump here, check it out what we got on the Fear and Greed Index, guys. $2.3 trillion. We're at $2.3 trillion market cap. Shout out to Crux. I know you like to see that. Up 1.47 for the last 24 hours. Volume, looking pretty good. It's looking decent. We got 59.9% there on that volume. Dominance starting to slow down a little bit. Of course, I don't like this one. I'm pretty sure if I put this on my other chart, it would be a whole different story. Let me just check over here real fast. There we go. Bitcoin dominance on here is 57.6%. I don't know where they get this 54% from. It's really weird. Anyway, guys, Fear and Greed, we're at 50, and this says it's fear. I'm going to have to call cap. I'm pretty sure 50 is neutral. we got to find a new fear and greed index, trade fly, because something's weird on this one, man. A couple of things I'm seeing that just make me go, that don't sound right. Like, where's neutral at? How do we go from 50 in fear and 52 is greed? And there's not really a neutral phase here. We're gonna find you guys a new one. We're gonna do that. All right, jumping over here into crypto bubbles, though, guys. Well, a lot of green here on the daily. You can see here on the hourly, we are getting pullbacks on a lot of the assets as the market opens. Last night, though, Asian market open kind of gave a big move on everything and gave it a setup for today. And now it looks like today that is a lot of that is playing out at a little bit of sell off, but it's not dropping too far from the level that it went to last night. So we'll look at all of that here in a minute. Economic data for the week, guys. This is why you guys come here. I am not a bit old to use the word cap, bro. Come on, Buck. Anyway, that's cap. How about that? Looking at Monday today, guys, we do have the Chicago Fed National Activity Index is going to be coming in. Not a major one. It's not a big one to look at. Matter of fact, if we come over here, go to the Kabisi letter. He's got the full breakdown in here. Can we get that? There we go. Monday, S&P Global PMI data. That's the big one this week. The consumer confidence data coming out tomorrow. Wednesday, August new home sales is going to be coming out. And then durable goods orders on Thursday. Wrapping up the week, the big one right there, August PCE data. That is the data that is most important. Now we can jump back over here, take a look. The S&P composite PMI manufacturing flash, and then the composite PMI and manufacturing PMI services PMI. That's going to be the big ones, okay, for today. And that is all going to be out here in the next 10 minutes, about-ish. So we'll come back and take a look at that. And then that big one, guys, moving down. It is going to be Friday right there. Core PCE. We are at 0.2%. Consensus and forecast is that we will be at 0.2%. So that would be a good thing if it's neutral. But being that we are going back down on the rate limits, they did the 50 basis point rate cut. That would mean like this stuff should be settling out, not just staying neutral, in my opinion. Just one humble man's opinion. Let's look here and see what we're seeing here on the CME group, guys. We are sitting at a 47%, we'll call it, we'll round it up at a 10%, why not? About a 47% chance of another 50 basis point rate hike, or rate cut in September. Rate hike would be drastically horrible for the markets. Anyway, 47% chance of a 50% rate cut in November there, guys. That's what we're watching there. That would be 100 by November. That leaves December with another 25. Is that the 125, 125 that maybe Citibank was referencing when they said it's coming and they meant this year? That would be the 3 rate hikes, 50, 50, 20. I'm not sure. Guys, another 50 basis points does not say that we're going back to normalization. As Jerome Powell said, it means something totally different. So, Kabisi letter. Let's jump in here and take a look at what else he had to say here on X marks the spot today, because he did talk about this. I went over the schedule there, but Americans have never been so worried about the year ahead. The share of consumers uncertain about business conditions over the next year spiked to 51% in September, the most on record. The percentage is now doubled in 4 months. Okay, and so when you look at that, let's go back to here, and this will explain why that's important. This is consumer confidence coming out right here on Tuesday, tomorrow. That consumer confidence, guys, was at 103.3. They're expecting it to be at 103.8 to 104. They expect it to be higher tomorrow on this report. But if we look at what we're seeing here, the consumer certainty about business conditions is not looking better. It's looking pretty bad. Uncertainty is way high. So I don't know. I don't know where they get their numbers from, how they cook the numbers. It's a very interesting thing. But we're going to go with it. Sure. Why not? Do I have any articles today? Yes. We're going to look at these because we're going to look at the charts in a second. So this is relevant. Crypto and stocks share strongest positive correlation in years after the Fed rate cut, according to Bloomberg. This just came out this morning, guys. Cryptocurrencies and U.S. stocks are now more closely aligned than at almost any time in recent history. Sir, I don't need your ads. Thank you. I appreciate it. You're doing your job. I got it. This increasing positive correlation suggests that macroeconomic factors, particularly following last week's Federal Reserve rate cut, are significantly influencing both markets. The positive correlation between cryptocurrencies and the S&P 500 has risen to levels not seen since mid-2022, according to Bloomberg. This close relationship in price movement indicates that macroeconomic factors influencing U.S. stocks are significantly impacting the crypto sector as well. Let's come over here. Let's talk about that because, again, I call cap. We just seen the S&P, we've just seen the Dow, like the NASDAQ. They're all making all-time highs. We haven't seen an all-time high on Bitcoin since March. So how is it that they're able to say that there's a correlation in price action between the S&P and crypto right now? I don't know how they reached that analysis, that assessment. I don't know what data brought them there. And it makes me wonder if there's a bias behind their article writing. Like, hey, guys, look, stocks just made a new all-time high and crypto's a correlation with it. That means positive correlation. Crypto's hitting a new all-time high soon. Thank you very much for that money, BlackRock, and have a great day. Is that what's going on here? Is this a marketing campaign using Bloomberg for it? I don't know, but I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts because I don't see a positive correlation between the two.
I mean, I see a little bit of a correlation. They've both been making kind of an upward trajectory, kind of up and right together. Now, it hasn't been exactly the same. There's been a little bit of divergence here and there. And I feel like, I can't remember, I think me and FD were talking about it, that it seems like money's kind of changing hands back and forth. So like one day you'll see one kind of make a big move, and then the next day you're seeing cryptos make a big move. And it's like it's almost like going back and forth a little bit. Now the one for one, like, hey, like we're hitting all-time highs at the same time, not really seeing that. I agree with you there. But the overall movement, the overall trend of the market does seem to be going in the same direction. And it did that in the bear market too. There was a very tight correlation between Bitcoin and the NASDAQ, definitely on the way down. I was actually using it as part of my trading strategy, and I was watching the NASDAQ and I was watching Bitcoin, and Bitcoin at times actually was a lead indicator for the NASDAQ, what it was going to do that day. So let that shit sink in. All right. So back to this, I think there's a correlation. I don't know that it's probably that tight, but yeah, there's a correlation to me. And like, I definitely see it. We're sitting at an all-time high that we just made for crypto, and we just now made an all-time high for the S&P. And think about crypto now, there's lower capitalization, right? There's less money, so it's easier to move. So yeah, sorry, I was just looking at it. I was actually looking for the time frame here. I wanted to see, because Bitcoin made its move in March, right? So I'm coming back, all the way to March just to see, where this was. And, that's a pretty big move for the S&P still, to be honest with you. I mean, if we're taking March to where we are about now, that's a 12% move for S&P, where we've actually kind of pulled back a little bit in terms of cryptocurrencies. So, but still, like I said, the trajectory, the trend, still kind of moving together. So that's kind of what I am seeing on the charts. What I will say, the S&P since March has been stronger in terms of it's still going up and right, while crypto's pulled back just a little bit.
Yeah, I think OC's actually, I'm looking at his little chart over here. He's actually got a little side-by-side going here. So, OC, show us what you're working with, dog.
Absolutely. So I will have to disagree in this time for the macro charts, at least on and let's call it quotations macro charts, because we're only looking at daily, right? If we were talking about monthly, weekly, or something like that, I would kind of like, the disparity comes more evident. But let's take a look at here. I was just trying to pair October with October, right? 13. It's not a one-to-one chart so far, but as you can see, up correlation for me. And let's look at that. Both of my metrics are moving the same, right? And I'm gonna be careful only to do vertical lines in here, right? So up only correlation was all the way, I mean, only till here, right? Which was once again somewhere around this area. So let me once again show you. Here we go, and this is it right here. Other than that, I don't know. Let me ask you one question, and this is not to bring fear into the markets or fear into you guys, but what is the definition of a downtrend, right? Lower highs and lower lows, right? Usually downtrend, which it is distinguishable different from a downwards channel, which by the way, this is what I think it is, a downward channel, kind of like a flag. It is that a trend usually is much more aggressive, right? In which a channel kind of like a take its time to go down, take its time to go up, and so on and so forth, right? So I would say that, I mean, this is ranging and this is kind of like up only, right? Do we have the pullbacks? Yes, we do. By the way, I think we are in a way to another one, but I just don't see it. If we go to something like an hour, I would agree with trade flight. But at the end of it all, remember that everything is fractal, right? So there's gonna be a disparity point at some moment, like for example, right here, top and going down, maybe this other top. Well, what's happening here? We kept shooting up, right? And then bottom here, maybe another bottom. Could you maybe feel like there's a correlation? Yes, but the structure will. I would say lower time frames once again. If we measure tops and bottoms, it kind of like it does the same parameter here, but the actual market direction, it is not matching. What I want to say is interesting is what we just mentioned. Like, check out the mounts. Bottom, top, right? Well, and this one was top. So what's bottom, top, bottom, top? Here we go. Let me just paint it very quick. Bottom, top. That is this bottom, this top, right? Let me clear this up so it's not confusing. There we go. This bottom, this top. Then once again, top here, which is this bottom. Look at there's no correlation there. Then up, and then we're kind of like a backwards, right? So kind of like, I mean, lower time frames, I absolutely will agree. But overall,
there's a key
structure,
element. There's a key element. I know. Go back to his chart. There's a very key element that we're not considering right now. I mean, no, not my chart. Go to OC's chart. Do this. Draw a vertical line in January of 2024. Draw me a vertical line.
January.
Mm-hmm.
Wait.
And this is what, yeah, January.
That would probably be easier on
news.
your chart rather than walking on target.
It should be super to draw a vertical line in January. That's easy. There you go. All right. So
that's it.
Yep. So now what happened in January of 2024? The Bitcoin spot ETF is what happened. So what we're having is a big movement for Bitcoin. It's going to change your fractals, right? It's not going to be one-to-one correlation because we had a major news announcement for Bitcoin, and we had money flowing in that we had never seen before, which changes what you're seeing on the chart. Now, if you were to draw a straight line from there to where we are now and draw a line from January to where we are now in the S&P, now you're seeing that really the trajectory is relatively the same. We just had more money flowing in for a short amount of time that inflated the price action on Bitcoin. So you got to take that into consideration, which makes sense to have a little bit of a pullback in terms of just visually looking at a chart. So that's what I'm saying. Like the trend actually overall is still up and right.
Overall. But I think that there's a little bit of Bloomberg bias there that might have been paid for, bought and paid for by someone who wants the ETFs to catch up to the S&P right now because all-time highs look sexy, and they have a new sexy ETF that they would like to also hit a new all-time high. So that's all I'm saying there. I think that article, sure, if we put this on a monthly, might look similar, but I don't think that there's a positive correlation like we've seen in the past. Let me know in the chat, guys. What do you think? If you think there's a correlation between the S&P based on the charts that you just saw, put a 1. If you think that Bloomberg is off their rocker and making up stories for some dollars in their pocket, put a 2 in the chat. Let's go ahead and jump in. We just got this breaking news, guys, just came out here. So let's jump over to the news. There we go. And look, and just like that, it's Mystery Theater 3000. Guys, get out of here. Get off me. Anyway, look at here, guys. We do have the S&P Global Composite that just came in. It was at 54.6, came in just a little bit below 54.4. Was expected to be 54.3, so it came in higher than expected, but below the previous. Looking at the S&P Global Manufacturing PMI flash, that came in at 47, under what it was projected to be in at is 48.5 to 48, a little bit lower than what it was in the previous month. And then the S&P Global Services actually came in higher than expected, but not as high as what it was previously. And so this is the composite PMI flash. Let's jump in here. It edged lower to 54.4, but beat market forecast. The reading showed business activity growth in the U.S. private sector remained robust, signaling a sustained economic expansion for the third quarter. That's what that means, okay? So overall upward movement for the economy from businesses, okay, from private sector. The S&P manufacturing PMI fell to 47, though, contrasting with market expectations that it would rise, marking the third consecutive month of contraction in U.S. factory activity at the sharpest pace in over 1 year. That is a negative economic indicator, okay? That means contraction is occurring with manufacturing. Remember, manufacturing, construction, they are the heartbeat of the American economy. So, and then lastly, we have services. This is going to be decreasing to 55.4% from the 55.7%. The services PMI averaged in the United States averaged 53.81 points from 2013 to 2024. So still a little bit higher than what we averaged before. Reached an all-time high, though, back in May of 2021 at 70.4. So this is compiled from the S&P Global from responses to questionnaires sent to a panel around 400 service sector companies, and those service sectors include retail, transport, information, communication, finance, insurance, real estate, business services, stuff like that. So overall, mixed data today coming in off of this, and it looks like the markets have absorbed it well. Nothing big throwing down here on that stuff, but I do want to bring up what is throwing down and not looking too strong is this here. Where'd you go? Right there. Asset managers have never been so bearish on oil prices. Short positions in Brent oil held by money managers now exceeds longs by a record 12,680 contracts. Positioning has fallen sharply from a net long of over 300,000 contracts in just 2 months. So I wanted to bring that up there. I think that's relevant. We're going to have OC take a look at oil here in a minute, and we'll explain why that matters. But now, let's go to Bitcoin, guys. Let's talk about this bad boy, because yesterday we ran up to, guess where? That 200-day simple moving average. And as the thumbnail said today, guys, this is the only thing that matters right now, this 200-day simple moving average. You can take every single thing else off your chart. Just look at it like this. Let's go over here. We're going to take all this stuff off. Halving cycle events, take that off. The fib cycles, take that off. That's all you need. That one indicator right now, that's all you really need. And as long as we cannot get above it, we are bearish. Go back in history. When we're beneath it, we got rejections off of it. This is the summer of 2021. You see here, we reject off of it. That led to a bear market. Come over here. This goes into the next halving event, which occurred. Well, I guess you do want the Bitcoin halving event to help. There you go. We had that. It was our support all the way up. When we went beneath it up here, yep, that was the rejection down. Come over here, another halving event, get beneath it, rejection down, right? Guys, we typically do go beneath the 200 after we have an all-time high, unless you've got FTX price suppression going on, like they said at the Sam Bankman-Fried trial, where we had this pullback here. This was FTX manipulation of the Bitcoin. They even stated that, Caroline did, at the trial. So looking here though, guys, again, having support, right? Right now, we have done something that is historically reverse of any time period. Right after the halving, we got stuck beneath it. Rejection, rejection, rejection. These are weeklies. If I put this on a 4-hour, you'll see it's even more so on the rejection side. Let's get rid of the Mexican spaghetti. There you go. Rejection, crazy rejection. Every time that we've been beneath it, we got a little bump up here, came down. This is the Japanese carry trade. And now multiple times underneath it. Go into this current cycle. We'll go back over here and you'll see yesterday, this past week, I should say, we had one on Friday rejected off. We had one on Thursday rejected off. We had one on Sunday rejected off. And then overnight with the Asian market pump up, we came up here, grabbed a little bit of the liquidity that was over here from these wicks, and then down she goes. Now, I know some of our traders had their stop losses set over here. I'm not sure what they put them at, but they may have gotten stopped out. Let me know in the chat if that got you. Did they get you? Let me know. But yeah, if we break through this, guys, it's that simple. If we break through this and we retest it, I flip bullish. I flip bullish at that point because being above the 200-day simple moving average is a bullish stance on price action. But as long as we keep getting rejected, I do think that we're going to see like 61K coming into play. I think we're going to see 59K coming into play and 58K coming into play. And of course, if we come down and we test this 300, very likely we're just going to go ahead and test the 618 on this golden pocket. Also has been previous support and resistance in the past. So that's what I'm watching for on the downside. Now, one of our members, Buck, in the chat, in the Discord this morning, talked about that the bearish divs are failing to div. They're failing to dive. And he didn't know what he was talking about. We had another hidden bearish divergence that printed here. That's that orange line on the Oscillator Pro. Printed right there. And we didn't really get a dive. You can see this candle right here is just kind of a doji candle. It's a low sitting doji candle. That means uncertainty, okay? So this bearish div and this downtrend and this downtrend and this volume downtrend, not really playing out on the price action. So that means a lot of the stuff will get cooled off if we maintain this area. A lot of the stuff will get cooled off and not be so hot. And then price will just range sideways during that period. And then it will be ready at the bottom of all of this to launch back up while price did not really fall with it. So we are seeing a little bit of hopium this week. But I do think that it would be logical for us to come down, and I actually need to move my box down here a little bit because that 100 is still sloping down. There we go. So we're now looking at that top end of the support being around $61,000, guys, right there in that ballpark. Let's move it just a little bit more right there. Yeah, it's about 61K coming in on that 100-day simple moving average. So, but yeah, that divergence not really playing out on price at this time. Let's go kick it over. So let's check out TradeFly's heat map and see what he's seeing there. But again, on those levels, TradeFly, I'm watching for firstly 61K. On the downside, the next level below that would be 59K. So upside move, if we break that 200, which is at 64,000, I'm looking at 67,000. Let's see what you got on your charts there and see how that's looking.
Right on. Yeah. So got the liquidity heat map up on the 3-day. Now you can see right now we're kind of sitting in between liquidity, but you do see the hotter spot is actually around 62,150. That is very achievable. That's not so far away. Now what I'm looking for is a trend. Now short term, we have a trend kind of going down and right, which would lead me to believe that we're more likely to come down and visit this area than this one up here. And then if you're just kind of looking back left on the chart, it's going very horizontal, right? We did have some volatility yesterday. It was bouncing all over the place. It was Wick City, but it's kind of going horizontal, right? So it's meeting a lot of resistance, and we've been talking about that for a good week or so, probably more than a week, talking about that range. And Piper mentioned it again. You got that 200 SMA. It was screaming to come up and be touched, but then we have this horizontal level as well. So look, I mean, it could have played out more better because you didn't get a close over top of the 200 SMA and you didn't get a wick over this area, this horizontal level of resistance. There's only two lines that I have on my chart in terms of support and resistance that I've marked right now. It's right here, 52.8, and right here, 65.1. All right. So in terms of the move that's played out, I think that this move has played out from, down here. I was actually, looking more so at the support level of the channel. up to the 200 SMA. That was kind of the play I was looking at. So we haven't really changed much since we've talked about that, to be honest with you. You do see a breakout here of this falling wedge. Smart target was right up here. Look, see, this is what I'm talking about. You get these smart targets, find where there's resistance. And when you find them where there's resistance, that's usually the exit that I like to look for when you see these smart targets, because this is just kind of an algorithmic like prediction of where the price could go based on that. But you always got to factor in your support and resistance into your analysis, right? So, right now, I don't feel like much has changed, because the last time we talked about this was Friday, right? And we're kind of sitting in the same spot. We're still testing the same areas. Piper mentioned that. But the thing that gives me concern too, like if we do continue to press up, you got the point of control, you got the 2021 high, you got the value area high. There's a lot of resistance on top of price action right now. So I'm not super like bullish where we're at right now. Remember, I was the bull here, right here. Now that we're getting up to resistance and we've kind of made that move, now I'm like, okay, well, I think we might be due for a little bit of pullback. We are looking at the liquidity sitting at about 62K, which is very achievable. That's just right here. There's nothing, that would prevent price action from going there. I think we need to come down and probably retest this area at a minimum, somewhere around 61 to about 60,000. You got the dynamic reactor, makes a lot of sense. It is green on the daily, so that's good, but I would like to see a retest of that area. And then the top side of this trend line, right? So there's two things that there's a little bit of confluence on with VWAP. So really three things that you have confluence. And I think Piper said there was a moving average sitting there as well. So you got a few things kind of lining up, and this is all just on the daily. That's what I would be looking for. So I would set some alerts in this area just to be like, okay, once it hits this area, let's go ahead and bring up the charts and start looking and seeing where we're at with some of the oscillators and the news, right? Just to see like, okay, is anything happening that's out of ordinary, or is this just kind of your normal pullback, because it does come in waves, right? You got to keep that in consideration. So key areas for me that I'm looking at right now, probably about 61K, I'll say at the bottom side. And then this hasn't changed. You got your 200 SMA at about 64, and then you got this horizontal level of resistance at about 65.1. So there's a little bit of a range there. Same thing down here. You got about $1,000 or so to play with. But I mean, if I was a betting man, you look here and you're seeing, look, we're flipping the trend, and you're now getting a little bit of pink, which is showing you a little bit of downside potential on the daily. All right. So this is again just on the daily. Yo, what's up?
And if you take a look there in the comparison of our bullish divergence, the move up, the previous bearish divergence, the move down, the previous bullish divergence before that, like even back one more, there's another one there where we had a right there. And so, yeah, they've been playing out pretty decent on giving us moves. We just have not moved on this one yet, which is weird. So,
bro, that shows you the power of this indicator. I mean, if you guys if you have a tough time recognizing some of these divergences, that's just a pitch for you to check out Chart Prime. I mean, it's printing it for you, and you can see, like he said, it's playing out. So right here is where he's talking about. You see it right here. Now he's also talking about right here. Yes, see it right here. Green. You got the reversal right here. I mean, it plays out again. So this is what he's talking about when he's saying the divergences, right? It's a very powerful indicator, especially, if you guys are just trying to learn how to chart. It's super beneficial, and it'll give you these patterns with breakouts and smart targets as well. I mean, here you go. Here's your pattern, right? Your falling wedge. Here's your breakout. That's what this little green dot is. And then it's giving you a smart target. That's what this dashed line is right here. So there's your little 101 on some of the things that Chart Prime can do. That's about what I leave on my chart personally. These are the things that I really like about Chart Prime. But I mean, it sets it up for you. So that's my little pitch there, but it's also what I'm looking at on Bitcoin. So I will pass it over to OC.
Absolutely. So let's take a look at a little bit on the structures that I was talking about, and also compare and then focus only on Bitcoin, right? The first thing that I do see of a difference, and guys, this is not to tell you to buy right away or anything like that. Just remember, look at the lower time frames and compare where you should be changing your bias to the upside or to the downside, right? But I still see this bull flag happening, all right? Something important to note, and we're going to be seeing that very quickly, it is how the bull flags have been playing out throughout this throughout this bull run. I have circled them because we can see right here that we have one candle to the downside. Look at that, or a couple candles to the downside, one wick to the downside, and then we blow up. Does that mean, the question mark, does that mean that we can still come back here and do like this? Absolutely, yes. I would say that, yeah. So just be careful where we are right now, because we are at resistance, and we are also here planning to, or going to, hitting the zero line. Look at the last time that we hit the zero line in here. We were again at the top and we rejected this little picking here. We were also at the top and we rejected. So the story has not yet been changed, right? Something important. I do believe that we're going to be breaking up eventually. Of course, that, I mean, the lower that we can be looking at, it is something like around 44, 43, I would say. And let's take a look at this pattern here. It is, for me, either an up-ranging area or a megaphone, right? For me, those break to the downside. And let's take a look at last time we had one of those. This one also played out to the downside. Look at another breakout. It's about the retest, and off we go. Secondary retest, and off we go, right? So I might be expecting something like that in the near future. Just be patient, and also keep your eyes in here, right? Let's now jump into the lower time frames here. Let's go to the 4-hour very quickly and wrap things up. So this is the areas that I was talking about. The first thing I want you guys to notice, it is that before a bull flag, we usually have had, not as a mandatory movement, but we have had this little kind of like a lower high, right? And then we have this movement, and finally we have, well, this one was a little bit of a fake out because of the approval of the ETF, right? But what happened here is that we dipped, we went up, and we finally broke above. Let's take a look at this one also. This is the little hump that I'm talking about, right? We kind of like have it the same way. I think this is clear, a little bit more clear now. Let me just get rid of a couple of lines so you can see it clearly. There we go. I think this shows it better, right? And the overall movement, it is like that. So as you can see, this little movement, and then we go downwards, this little hump, and then we go downwards. We have the further move to the downside before we explode up. So I think the same thing we're having here. Do we have this little kind of like a what it seems to be like a bullish flag or a bullish pennant? Yes, we do. And the only thing that we're missing, if we don't count this one, which I don't think we should, well, then will be another dip before a macro movement. So just be careful. I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong, because I mean, at this point, I would love for Bitcoin to do this, right? But I don't see it just yet. Let me just wrap it up on the weekly once again. Turn on my indicators very, very quick in here. And I want to show you where is the liquidity area to be grabbed. I have my order blocks and my liquidity zones, right? Again, there's only two options, up or down, right? If we break up, I'll pray for it. My target will be somewhere around here between the soft order block and the beginning of this liquidity area, something around 71. And then rejection to take this breakout retest, and off we go. Although I'll say that this is number 2 scenario. I don't think this is number 1. Number 1 scenario will be going down here, and then look at what we have here, a high order block. Remember that the order blocks, we call them as magnetic. So right now, if we bounce out of this area, just be careful, because maybe the third one, 1, 2, 3, could be the charm, and we could be going to take that order block. Other than that, turning back to you guys.
Awesome. Yeah. So I want to take a look at, I'm looking at a couple things here on the swap to BTC charts. And, guys, I may have jumped too soon on transition of my ETH to Bitcoin, and my ETH now identifying as Bitcoin. I may have been a little too soon on that one, but let's jump over and take a look at that chart. First of all, and then we'll go and see if is ADA about to have a breakout on its versus Bitcoin price action. So stick around for that one. You guys can see here, it was about last week, about the 15th, that I swapped out of my Ethereum for Bitcoin. Yeah, and now we've got a little pump up. I do think that we're probably going to see some resistance here on the 50-day. When price action comes into that on ETH versus Bitcoin, you can see it's been a very strong indication after it got rejected there of it was its support became its resistance, and then down it goes. But if we jump over and we look at what happened here with ETH is the biggest mover. It's about 3% versus Bitcoin to the upside, okay? The second one is going to be Chainlink, and you can see it's at 50, right? That 50 level is where it's having its fight at right now. But let's jump over and check out ADA, guys. You guys remember here a while back, we talked about this parabola that was going on with ADA versus Bitcoin here, and we were following this very cleanly down. If you look at where this parabola sequencing ends and run a support line straight across, guys, it has absolutely been our bottoming of ADA versus Bitcoin. If we hold this level, I think it's possible that we start to see the other alts get little movements up against Bitcoin. Caspa's, holding a nice clean level there on it. Whoa, yes, sir. Easy there. Adam here, XRP, you can see it's that 50. So I do think that ETH is about to have an end to its run, but ADA, I think, is about to start its run if it can hold this level of ADA versus Bitcoin. Now, keep in mind, if Bitcoin pulls back, then everything's off. The alts tend to fall harder. But if Bitcoin can just hold its sideways action here, we might get it might be a good opportunity for some alts if you're looking to swap. So that's what I wanted to show there. He says parabola funny. It's a parabola, dude. I'm from the Midwest, man. Leave me alone. Shout out to Alex O Crypto in the chat. Guys, let's go ahead and start taking a look at some alt TA. Let us know in the chat what you guys would like to see. And TradeFly, do you have a Soul Train soundbite yet?
I don't have a Soul Train soundbite, but I do have Big Time up right now. The reason I have it up is because we had a member in the chat this weekend that was trading Big Time. So I'm like, you know what? Be a man of the people here. Let's go ahead and take a look-see at Big Time, right? So the area that I was looking at, and if I remember correctly, he had some liquidity coming in at about this area. So I just looked back, simply left on the chart, and I was like, okay, well, that would make sense. You see an area where there could be a horizontal level of support, right? So I think it was sometime in the afternoon on Saturday, if I remember correctly. And I was like, hey, this makes sense with liquidity for a little bit of, long positions coming in. However, I didn't really follow up on that. So a couple things to look at here. And you guys haven't seen this one in a while, but I'm bringing it back. Go ahead. Fly those paper airplanes, baby. The dynamic support and resistance zones by Chart Prime right here. I used to pull this up all the time, if you guys remember. Let's let them go. All right, here we go. Let them fly. So ultimately, Big Time did actually have a little bit of a move up, and that does make sense. And you found some resistance here, right here. You can see a lot of volume came in off of this wick, and you had the VWAP, right? So I would recommend, if you are doing some scalping or intraday type stuff, VWAP is a good one to have up on your chart. All right. So yeah, got a rejection there. It came down pretty hard, right? And then it fell underneath, right? So look at this. So it flipped what was support. It's now flipped it into resistance. So you also have VWAP continuing its way down. So it's kind of got confluence here with resistance. I would be very careful if you're not already out of your position with going long. My bias would probably actually be in the opposite direction, but I'm not saying I would take that. I'm going to tell you where I would be looking though. All right. So you guys know that I like price action to just come to me. I sit back, I wait, I'll put in a limit order well in advance, and then I'll just let it come to me. And look, I mean, this one stands out to me. You have volume here. This volume is not negative volume. This is positive volume. We actually ended up making a move up and right, came back for a retest, and then made a really big move up and right. So right here, this makes me interested. But what do we have? Also, the dynamic reactor. So now we have confluence in a zone, a price action, an important area of price action, we'll say. All right. So sitting at about, we'll call 11 cents, right? That's where I would set an alert, probably a little bit higher, just so you get notified before it actually gets down there. So maybe 11.4, 11.3, somewhere in there. I would just let it come down. And then at that point, go to the charts and start looking and be like, okay, what do we have? Do we see any bullish divergence? Maybe that might be in play. Do we see a peak seeker? Do we see kind of a trend reversal? Something along those lines, kind of give you a little bit more added confluence. But even then, I mean, this would be an area of opportunity that I would be looking at on Big Time. So just wanted to point that out for you, Buck. Hope that helps, and I will pass it on to the next one.
Awesome. I'm going to jump in and knock out Ondo here because we already had some stuff on here that we talked about last week. And what I was talking about here was that we had this long running trend line. You guys remember this? I was talking about these little resistance areas of this trend line. And I said, look, we're breaking out on it right now. We could come down as far as the 887, but take a look at what's going on here. We've got this upside movement going on here on the Oscillator Pro ribbon. We're starting to turn green. That's what that white arrow right there was for. So we're starting to turn green on the volume coming in. And I do think that right here, and that's where I drew all those squigglies. Let me go ahead and get all that off now. I said, this is where we're seeing this flip happening right now at the same time that we're breaking this key structure here. Guys, we traded down it for a few days straight here, retesting the support of this and have continued to the upside since then. This has played out beautifully. I am watching for us to get a reversal here up around this top line of the golden pocket. That's going to be your 618 at 80 cents. Also, right there, that dash red line running underneath it, guys, that is the point of control of this big volume node right here on the fixed range volume profile. But I do think that we do have some upside movement up into there. If we get rejected there, could be about the time that the 100-day simple moving average is also coming into play. So it does something like this in this range. That would be where I would watch for that rejection. But if we break that, guys, and we retest this as support, could be looking to go much higher. I'm actually called back here for a level of about $1.04. So first level of resistance right there at about 80 cents. Keep an eye on that. I will point out that we did get a pretty high here on the Oscillator Pro ribbon. We did print a downtrend, and it does look like money flow is starting to curve again, and the volume is starting to curve again. So some bearish stuff on the oscillator, but overall, guys, I think that this candle today is giving us a run at least into the golden pocket. We'll see what happens there. Let's go ahead and pull this up on a side-by-side. And I want to see how hot the RSI is right now. This is why it's hot. Let's go put this on auto. There we go. And there we go. Yeah, guys, we're not even red on here yet on our RSI. You can see we get back here. We go really red, and we can go pretty high on this Oscillator Pro. So on the RSI, I mean, RSI Prime, that's the word. Thank you. Line, please. We are sitting above the daily Bollinger Band, so watch for that. But right now, guys, this is looking like it's warm, but it's not hot yet. I think this is going to take a while to play out. So yeah, I'm sticking with that. 80 cents. That's my call on Ondo to the upside before we get rejection. Let's go ahead and kick it over to OC guy, see what he's got on his chart today.
Absolutely. I got AIG. So looking very impressive, to be honest. Let's just get started with the very basics, right? We can acknowledge that we have a big movement to the upside. And then if I start drawing some lines in here, we could be seeing something like looks or resembles to a bullish pennant. Let me actually just draw a little bit more aesthetic. There we go. A bullish pennant. That usually is a continuation to the upside, but in this case, I don't know. We might be having a breakout to the downside, and that is because we have a ton of divergences, right? The best case scenario with these divergences is when we got a divergence that we range and we do not fall drastically, right, or dramatically. If we are able to range or at least not fall dramatically, the next big support could be where we usually grab a little bit more momentum, and then we pump up very quickly, right? Let's get started with the indicators. Let me see what do I have in here. The first thing I'm going to be doing is turning on all of my reactors. Another thing that I want to do before I keep turning things on is take a look at daily. I think this will give me a little bit more of I don't know, of a perspective, right, of what could be happening here. Let me clear this up. And as you can see, there we go. It's not about the breakout. All right, we have a strong movement. We're coming into the reactor, into the quantum reactor. So I would say it's not about the breakout. It's about the retest, and off we go. So once again, we could be heading into a breakdown or to a reversal. Still for a movement to come back up, right? You can also tell because of this big wick at the top. Usually that's what we have on a rejection. That's what we have on a rejection. That's what we have on a rejection. It is not always the case, but in most cases, that's what's happened, right? I don't see any bullish divergences here, of course, because they just keep pumping, and that will maybe make me think that we are running out of steam. Let's just get rid of everything here. Let's go back to the 4 hour. really quick and wrap it up with the indicators. So all of the reactors are back down here, somewhere around these areas. Let's see, we are into a resistance. We failed to reach once again the resistance. If I zoom in, this looks like a double top to me, a cricket double top. So maybe this is the neckline. Be aware of this pattern, a lower high for a continuation to the downside, or a higher low for a continuation of the upside. Finally, once again, we have where everything is bunching up, which is at the bottom, very close where the dynamic reactor will be at. I could be aiming somewhere around this area. Why? Because two soft order blocks might create one high order block. So high plus high, I will just aim at the middle, somewhere around 0.91 for the bearish scenario. So let's see what else we have. Equilibrium bouncing out of the premium zone, and I think that will be it. The only thing that I see that is bullish, it is this volume profile magnifier order block, as long with my predictive ranges. Both of those have big areas of resistance up here, which could lead me to believe that if in case we are facing a pennant, a bullish pennant, and the breakouts to the upside, well, I will be aiming to, oh, come on, let's move this out of the way. There we go, at 0.13. So what's going to be the plan? If I break out, retest, and off we go, I might be playing out the breakout because this could be an explosive movement. So I'm going to set an alert very quick and then enter at the breakout right there. By the way, that breakout could be doomed. So you need to be very tight on that breakout. So long positions right here as I break out, and then my stop loss at the center of that pennant. That's what I'm going to be trying to jump in, and then aiming for a little bit below for TP number 1 and then TP number 2 right at the blue line. That's what I'm going to be trying to do for the positive zone. And for the negative zone, it's going to be exactly the same for the breakout, all the way TP number 1 and TP number 2 at 0.08. That's what I got on AIG. Trade back to you guys.
Trey Fly, what you got for us, bro?
You know, I got the Soul Train ready.
The Soul Train.
So, yeah, let's take a look at it, man. I don't know what you got. What more do you want from me here? So, Soul Train is like me and the chart are one. So looking at this, we have been talking about this range 121. I won't beat that up too much, but this is where we're looking for a little bit of a move up to the point of control. Was basically where I'm like, all right, that's probably where we're going to find some resistance. It actually got over top of it, right? But I was like, hey, this area right here, you're gonna find some resistance, right? Just come back left on the chart and you're looking at it, you see support and resistance in that area. So that's why you see that horizontal line. And then we're coming back and we're looking for that retest of the point of control. That's where we're at right now. So going to be a very important moment for Sol, to be honest with you. If, you know, Bitcoin can find a way to maintain its current price area here, if it does make a move up, then I'm looking forward to come up and retest this area again at about 152 would be what I'm looking for on Sol. But if Bitcoin pulls back, you know, because we're kind of at a key level, right? Point of control of the whole range is like the middle, the average kind of. So think about that. That's a pretty key level to be like, all right, which way are we going here? We gotta wait for that to play out a little bit. If Bitcoin pulls back, then we start coming down and we start looking at areas like the dynamic reactor, hoping for a little bit of support there. But I would say, yeah, that's kind of, you know what? I'm gonna keep it there. I'm gonna keep it pretty simple on Sol today. I mean, if you get a big pullback, then you got this. I mean, look at all of these closes right here. They all kind of line up really right in the general area of about 127, 128. You can look for, you know, some support there. I don't know that we're going to see that necessarily in the short term, because you are starting a trend up and right now. We have broken out of this area. So you've reestablished this area right here, which is good to see for Solana. So, you know, I would say, you know, generally, I told you this before, I think Solana looks a little bit stronger than Bitcoin if you zoom out throughout this range, right? We kept a horizontal level of support that Bitcoin has not. Bitcoin actually has kind of a down and right look to it right now, but it is kind of forming a flag as well on Bitcoin. So, but Solana, I mean, it looks pretty healthy. I'm not, you know, too upset. I think that the big part of the move, like in terms of what we were looking for, That's kind of played out. So now we're kind of in the middle here, and we got to figure out which direction we're going to go. So I'm not going to make too much of a call. Like I said, Bitcoin, I see kind of the opportunity for a little bit lower to grab that liquidity. And unfortunately, I think Solana would follow. And if it does follow, then I'm looking at the dynamic reactor, I think, for a bounce. And that's at 138. So we're at 144 now. 138 is kind of my low side target. If we see some Bitcoin, movement to the downside, and if Bitcoin can hold, then I'm going to be looking for it to find some resistance up here at about 153. So might be an opportunity to play this range a little bit. You can see, I was looking for that old OC retest, which we are getting right now. So that is going to be interesting. Coming down to the oscillator, though, that is not looking ideal, we'll say. I would like to see that reset, give that opportunity to bend back up, and then we'll look for a little bit of movement, not movement, but kind of a trajectory up and right there. And that's what I would like to see. So you want to see this kind of bend up a little bit before I would get interested in potentially trying to play the point of control. But again, make sure that you're kind of safety backstop looking at Bitcoin before you make that play to see where it's at. So, this is kind of intraday scalping, kind of look at it right now, not interested in it, just to be very, very clear with you guys. Don't jump on this right now. I would let this play out a little bit. You want to see this hold some support for a little while. And like I said, give this opportunity to reset and work its way up, as well as Bitcoin. You want to see that hold support. So right now, just really, you're kind of looking at your key areas. You might find some resistance here at 153 for probably a better, I would say, short opportunity, because then what you would see, if price action moves up and then you see let me clear this out. If you see the prime oscillator look something like this, right? Now you're actually getting some downward trajectory there, right? So that would actually make me feel a little bit better in terms of a intraday or scalping type trade, is looking for that retest of this area at about 150, we'll call it 152. And then if you see something like this on the charts with the prime oscillator, it could be an opportunity for a quick little short there. So that's what I'm looking at. Solana, obviously high side target for the whole range here. Like if we got big movement, 162, and that's just simply going back left on the chart. Here you go, resistance, resistance. We haven't broken that in quite some time. We haven't even been up there since August, and then early August was that last hit before we had a breakdown. So there you go. There's Solana.
Awesome. That is about all we have time for there. We're at the bottom of the hour, guys. But before we go, I did want to jump over here and do a really quick look at WMT for A to Ace. He's, super helpful and supportive member of the alumni. So I want to help him out. If you guys don't follow A to Ace, you guys need to. You guys got to go check out his content. Tradefly, can you drop a link in the chat for us on that? Because I don't know, or somebody. Can somebody drop a link for Ada Ace in it? That'd be great. Let's check this out for Ada here. He's looking at WMT. I have this old school trend-based fib extension here, guys. It's trend-based, so that's the levels that I pulled this off of. And you can see how much the platinum pocket played to support their resistance. Gave a pump up into like the phase 1, phase 2 golden pockets here. This is back in April, and then downside, right? Well, we're getting some action here on the 382. It has been candle closes on the daily for support, and now we have broken back above the golden pocket and the platinum pocket. I do see that we could have a little bit of resistance at this level, though, guys, and here's the reason for it. We are now testing and getting rejection on previous resistance here off of the 300-day simple moving average, okay? That's one piece. Break on another piece here of data. We are coming in right now onto the dynamic reactor. That is this wave coming right there. So we do have some key resistance levels that I want to point out there that we are getting rejected on right now as we speak. And if we put this on the side-by-side real fast for them, you'll see that our level of the RSI right now, this heat level, has been our rejection on all of these pieces here. And lastly, top it off, we're hitting the daily Bollinger Band top. So I do see a little bit of a pullback coming. Key level to test is going to be the 786 at 20 cents. But I actually think, watch here, that is where you're going to come into your 50-day. That is going to be your golden pocket, and that's going to be your better level of resistance, of support, which is going to be back down around 19 cents. So that's what I got there for you on WMT, man. I hope that helps you out. But hey, guys, thanks for joining us today. TradeFly OC, thanks for dropping in and dropping the alpha with me. I always appreciate when we have the whole team here. TradeFly, what you got for the people on the way out, man?
Hey, as always, great mixing it up with you guys. Happy to be here on Monday. Hope everyone had a great weekend, and trade safe. Take some of these things. Hopefully, you can apply them to what you guys are doing in terms of your trading strategy, and that's why we love doing this. So, catch us on Crypto Nightcap tonight. That's going to be 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and I will be joined with FD White. So, hopefully, I'll see you guys there.
Awesome. OC, what you got for the people, man?
Well, I have a question for you both. First, how much talent does a mute guy could have singing?
How much talent does a mute guy have singing? I don't know. How much talent does he have?
All right, so I just shared a link that is from a song called Chacarrón. That was a huge hit. That is a mute guy trying to sing. So if you ever feel lost, guys, and you feel like you don't have talent, remember to click that like button. That will give you enough courage to follow your dreams and achieve your goals. Just remember, if a mute guy can do it into the singing area, well, then you can do it into trading. Remember, to have the courage doesn't mean to go all in, but to do what nobody else is doing. And what nobody else is doing, it's preparing, going to the hard lane, because that is preparing yourself, right? So prepare, click that like button. That will give you that courage. And also let me know tomorrow if that worked.
I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. All right, man. What the OC is unhinged. C90, he is unhinged. He's been in crypto for more than 2 cycles. This is what happens. Let this be a warning to everybody. RMT, Retro Mike, unhinged. Guess what? Been in crypto more than 2 cycles. I'm just telling you, putting it out there. So, guys, thanks for joining us today. What's that? Oh, good Lord.
You become cuckoo, right? More than 2 cycles.
That's it. That's it. You start to lose it. Guys, thanks for joining us today. We're about to go raid the frat house. Randy Hipper's over there waiting for us. So make sure you drop those graduation caps when you get in there. Guys, and we'll be back here tomorrow morning, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for the morning market report. Between now and then, check out the Crypto Nightcap tonight, and tomorrow morning, BC Port Corp and Lunar Beaches will be back for Good Morning Crypto, guys. And hey, Wednesday, special episode in the afternoon, guys. We're going to be doing a live interview with the CFO, COO of Grunt Style Retail Clothing. He's going to come on, talk about the retail side of this economy, and give us some insight that aren't fudged numbers from an actual CFO of the company that is in retail. So be watching for that on Wednesday. Very excited about that interview, guys. We will catch you all right back here tomorrow morning, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, bringing you guys the news, the charts, and the markets, and everything you need to have knowledge, because knowledge is profit here at the Academy. Until then, guys, trade safe. And as always, use a stop loss.
I don't know what they keep telling me. I don't know what they keep telling me. Ain't no school like Piper Academy. Ain't no school like Piper Academy. We'll keep that front line covered, even when we're dead and gone. We'll find a way to keep going, cause we gon' keep on rolling after wheels fall low. I know you hungry for knowledge, that's profit appetite. Classes in session, this for the Army Piper acolytes. Trade flag at the soul, train ready. What a line from OCI, from a Mexican spaghetti. Yo, crunch crypto with a deep dive to project dime. And if you like the visual powered by Chart Prime, then you were part of that alumni, that's all spine. But if you have, step fall back to offline. We'll keep that front line covered, even when we're dead and gone. We'll find a way to keep going, cause we gon' keep on rolling after wheels fall low. Sound off.
To get with them, the ZTS rhythm. Rip it, Alexandra.
Yeah, that's my alumni, you know what I mean.
That was awesome, dude!